at 5:15. Let's call the order and do a roll call. Everybody here?
Perfect. You know, your speak up.
I've got roll marked here.
Thank you, Jason. HRC mission, the purpose of the Bismarck Human Relations Committee is to create an atmosphere of inclusion, equality, and accessibility through education and outreach to recognize the value of a diverse community. Do we have any public comment? Public comment, no one noted online. One more time, public comment. Hearing none, let's go ahead and move into the approval of meeting minutes. Did
So
everyone-
moved to approve.
Perfect. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Perfect, motion carries. Moving right into 2022 HRC goals. I can't function. A. I was gonna call it something, but we'll just call it A. Build committee recognition, the 2022 20th anniversary of the HRC and compose public service announcements. Does anybody want to touch on this one? It looks like we did get 2 handouts on public service announcement. Formats from the health department, I'm assuming, Bismarck Early Public Health. Their PSAs that they did at the time, an example for us to roll into possibly doing ours. That ties into the 20th anniversary of the HRC getting recognition in the community. Any discussion on this?
If I can, Mr. Vice Chair, the examples were there only to give you a reference point of the length, kind of the
Ideas.
pattern. Yeah, it doesn't need to be paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. These are 30-second sound bites, that's all these are, so.
I feel like you're underestimating how quickly I can talk.
Well, the idea would be, so this is just one example from public health, but the idea for the HRC would be that you could easily craft 1 or 2, but then all of you could record your voice on that. So whether you can talk like an auctioneer or not, you've got to remember that the other person may need all 30 seconds to get through the same content. And I don't think there's any harm in having the same message with different voices, because people are going to recognize Carl's voice differently than Nicole's and everybody else's. So, and you know, the more you hear something, the more it becomes an awareness in your own way. And keep in mind, this one PSA might play twice a day, you know, because they've already got dozens in their cache. And so this would be adding to that and then freshening it, because currently there's nothing from the Human Relations Committee at all, right? Typically, the PSAs on Dakota Media Access, radio access will play kind of at near the top of the hour. So song programs end at 4:58, 4:58 to 5 o'clock, they might squeeze 2, 3, 4 PSAs in there, and they go to the top of the hour and they have a mandatory announcement, listening to Community Access Radio, 102.5 FM, da, 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 and then they start back into everything else. So, I guess that's, all I know. I had one other thought. Yes, so the PSAs would not need to only live on radio access 102.5. We can share those once they're recorded with Dakota Media Access. They can be shared with other radio stations because they are simply public service announcements. Whether those other stations choose to use them, totally up to them. We know they'll get used at DMA. They're looking for this type of content. So we know there's an automatic audience there. Whether the others choose to incorporate it, I guess it's on that.
The other program that would use it is Main Street on public radio.
Sure.
Been on there a few times.
So are we wanting one of them to be just kind of an information one where we talk about what we do?
I think that's an important one to talk about, you know, the mission, the vision, the value, although those items aren't necessarily stated. I think you know what I mean. When you read the HRC mission, purpose of the Human Relations Committee, that's one. You also incorporate, you know, our meetings are open to the public. We meet the 3rd Monday of most months at 5:15 in the mayor's conference room, and you just say those things again and again, because this is the first time most people have ever heard this, so you don't have to get real deep with the details. So I guess,
Otherwise, if you don't catch them in the first 2 minutes, then you lose them.
well, these are 30 seconds total.
Well, I know that, but
But you're right. And the other thing too is some people will have a better feel for the message from a woman versus a man and vice versa. So it all depends on the person listening. So,
So I guess if you guys have an idea, if you wanted to start drafting your own and bring it to the group, we would leave it on the agenda for the next time. If a couple of you want to get together and work on this as a side project, I guess it's really open to you. So, there is.
I'm just saying that there is that stating. Because if you ever testified in front of the legislators, if you don't catch them within the first 2 minutes, you lose them.
you might want to speak fast.
Yeah, so I mean, even though it's 30 seconds, but the point is.
Do you wanna crack it out over a few lunches?
How about if anyone would like to meet us for over a lunch break?
Yeah.
We could do it up at the Capitol in the cafeteria.
Do we have to count it as a public meeting if there's more than a
Oh, should we just keep it to two?
If there's 5, then you've got a quorum.
I would do that. I would be willing to do that because I'm not that far from the Capitol.
Okay,
I'll go over to lunch that he was.
yep. What we can do is we can just,
If there's more than 5, I'll walk away.
I was gonna say.
If there's 4, I'll just turn around.
yeah. We can do that if you'd like. Anybody can show up. How about we'll have Whitney send out a notice, and if you can respond to the notice, then we'll know if we have a quorum or not. We can set up 2 of them. And my hopes is we can knock this out within 2 to 3 weeks and have it set and ready to go by next month. So then next month we can actually do the PSAs. Does that sound like a believable timeline? Because I know we've talked about it for a couple months and let's get some movement.
If we know we're gonna have a quorum, just let Whitney know and then.
And we'll just notice it as a special meeting and we say what the order of business is and
Where
we'll
we're
leave it
gonna
at
be
that.
at, or does, okay.
And they can come, if public wants to join us at the Capitol cafeteria for a PSA.
We welcome you.
If you come, you have to be prepared to
Right.
volunteer your voice.
That's true.
One thing that may help prior to this, just to kind of prepare, I think we had sent other examples in
Yep.
an email too that weren't attached to this, but also on our website in the Human Relations webpage is the strategic plan for the HRC. You may want to have that as a reference because there would be verbiage or mission content related stuff that could kind of plant some seeds for you.
Perfect. Any other comments?
Is there a way that Whitney could print those off and send them?
Well, a couple of them were audio, so they were the actual recording, the voices, so that one, no. And then we asked we asked the, public health group for the scripts that they used, and this was the only one, the ones we gave her are the ones that they could find, so. Let's see here.
The reason I'm saying is because I don't have my computer and I can't print off on my phone, so.
Let me look and see what's on the agenda here. We can print those.
What's on the agenda is what's printed.
Both of them? Okay. Well, we'll take a look here. We won't have them here, so.
If Whitney finds a few more and sends them, I can print them and have a few copies available.
Any other comments?
Maybe just so I make sure I heard you right. You'll have something in draft format for us prior to the next meeting, so we can put it on the June agenda for total group review and hopeful adoption and move forward. Okay.
Okay, moving on to point B, Diversity University. This is just a held spot. Underneath that, we do have point 1, which is hosted events. Any discussion with hosted events moving forward?
Here's the only other one that we have. I can print this one quickly.
Just for a reminder, in case you're wondering what hosted events is, we had decided moving forward through this year that we wanted to do some partnered events as well as hosting our own event. We haven't truly come up with a hosted event yet. This ties into the 20th anniversary of the HRC also. I could see it doing that. Possibly something at the Heritage Center, like a movie with a speaker or something along those lines, I think would be a really good draw. Trying to figure out what that is. I don't know if we want to make, are we able to make subcommittees or people interested in tasking projects? If anyone wants to look into this and create
I'm
a,
all about the movie, so I can look
Right.
at that for sure.
movies are less time constraints. A lot of us are busy on numerous committees. So finding a movie and using our talent in drawing, networking and bringing people together, I think is something we all are really good at. So finding a documentary or something local that's about human rights or something along these lines, human relations. Which human rights, but we all know.
Yeah.
So something along those lines would probably be good. I don't know if we wanna start brainstorming and maybe come with a couple documentaries that we know of for the next meeting. If this is something that sounds all right, putting together a documentary and a speaker would be fairly simple, and then using it to highlight our anniversary at the
It
same
would be
time.
October if we're looking at the month of our anniversary.
So our hosted event would be October, we're thinking.
Just as a recommendation, maybe it's not just like one event, maybe it's like a film festival that we could do, like highlight different, areas each, like, minute a week.
We'd have to see how much they cost though, because we'd have to pay for the rights to play it, correct?
How much is that then?
Depends on film.
I know like a film that one of my friends directed and he would let us play for free.
Okay,
Was it at the film festival?
No, it's titled Holy Man and I think it was released in like 2017.
why did that sound so familiar?
Was it, what's the director's name?
I was thinking of,
My friend financed it, I should say,
Oh.
and then has the rights to, be able to play it.
Justin Deegan had a film in the, I can't remember which night it was, at the film festival this year. That was, I think it was played in 2020 during the shorts when they had the virtual version of the film festival, and then they replayed it this year because it was the in-person version. One thought, if you are looking at multiple films, maybe we don't think about a 90-minute film, maybe we think about short films. If you're bringing in the director, the producer, whatever, to have those conversations, it's very similar to how the film festival is structured with Dakota Media Access. Then you might pay less for a shorter film and then get that person to come and talk about those issues. That may be another source to consider for films themselves, because they sorted through hundreds and hundreds of films to get to the 16 that they actually played.
So maybe instead of like a few nights, maybe a Saturday with 3 or 4 short films with speakers in
Mhm.
between, where we could draw people in, use it as different means of fundraising for the community or anything along those lines. So
Minimum budget that would be working with.
$200.
Maybe some fundraising opportunities.
How much have we spent so far? Cause we
I
rebranded.
think quite a bit for this year. However, given the significance of this being 20th anniversary,
We can always
you
ask.
pull together a pretty nice program. You could get in front of the city commission and say, can we get a one-time stipend of X to
5,000.
do all these things?
Jason,
If you want to.
You don't know us.
One other thing to consider, your location, the venue itself. In the past, the film Suffragette was played at the Russell Reed Auditorium inside the Heritage Center. If you're looking to go larger than that, I think that facility holds between 200 and 300 people.
Yeah.
The next largest size probably be jumping up to the Bell, where you're looking at 800 plus. Another option could be the library. A large meeting room holds somewhere between 150 and 200 in there as well. So you've got, those are kind of price point places to consider. The Heritage Center is pretty reasonable.
the bill is 600 plus staffing right
Yeah,
now.
and the Bell's gonna be the most expensive.
The other thing is then you gotta think about accessibility.
Bill has good accessibility.
The Bell is accessible, all of them are accessible. Yep, the library has an elevator and the Heritage Center has a mezzanine level that is wheelchair accessible as well. And the entire facility would be accessible. So none of those buildings would be a problem. Another alternative could be schools. Auditoriums inside high schools or middle schools. So you've got a number of places.
I've done
October.
Maybe not in October, but
October always presents a challenge.
There is a drive-in movie theater in Mobridge.
South Dakota.
That's-
Very important.
I think one thing that would be helpful for staff is if this group is able to land on a date, then we could start checking on availability of those facilities. And just knowing that the Heritage Center worked well, I think I would prefer that we start there. It's about the right size for the group. It's centrally located. The cost is modest. Acoustics are good, facility works. They've got screens and cameras, microphones, all of the things that you would need for this sort of production.
They may be willing to work with us price wise too.
We're a repeat customer. We've done other things as a city. We've done other things in that facility.
What do we
Meeting
think,
space.
like mid-October, October 15th,
I have an event, I believe, that night.
22nd? This will be the other fun part. It's enough months in advance. I only
When
have
do we
one
meet
event
in
there.
October?
I'm hoping the 22nd as of right now.
The 17th we meet, so we would meet the Monday before if we do the 22nd.
I got nothing.
I'm available.
Sassy.
I would have to check my work calendar. I know that we have, Tommy Orange coming in October.
Yes. Who? To Bismarck Public Schools?
Not BPS, it's,
Okay.
a joint.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I sit on the diversity committee for the BSC, and so we're just purchasing books and trying to coordinate. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, we
Okay.
should touch base on that.
Okay.
The times will be scheduled for that.
Tentatively do October
Is that a
22nd.
Saturday or a Sunday?
It's a Saturday.
Okay. A lot of programming at the Heritage Center also takes place on Sundays. Don't have to rule out Sunday either. It's about mid-afternoon on Sunday in October.
Okay, so maybe 22nd or 23rd, leaning towards the 22nd.
Okay.
Sundays, we lose the church crowd. So,
Yes.
yeah. So we'll do tentative. Okay. BHRC anniversary film. That's what it's gonna look like.
Yeah, on both.
Yeah.
Okay, we can check on that tomorrow. And if that one isn't available, do you have a alternate site for that weekend? Sounds like October 22nd, 23rd is the preference for dates. And if it's not the Heritage Center,
Should
look at the library.
Or what about BSC? I'm thinking the large.
Sydney, that's probably 200, 250.
I think that's probably our max. I don't know, we
Go
don't,
big or go home.
yeah. I don't think we'd be pushing it, I don't think we'd overflow if we had, hitting that max would be great. So I feel like BHS would be a good,
Mhm.
and it's centrally located, we could get walkers. It's a good district for people interested in film and whatnot.
I could get the fee waived too.
Okay,
So site 2 is BHS.
yeah,
What's the name of is it an auditorium?
So this is an R.
Is it? I was gonna say Schaefer, but that's not.
okay.
It's like
That's okay.
Robert something.
Okay,
Okay, well, we'll look at those 2 sites on that weekend and see what's available. We'll have that for you at the next meeting.
so let's try and look around for 3 to 4 shorts. Local. HRC focused. Idea, but can shake some out.
Would you like me to ask Mary Van Sickle if they came across any in their submissions for the film festival?
Yes.
Is that-
Yeah.
That'll work. I was gonna reach out to the Fargo LGBTQ Film Festival. They always have a lot that kind of fall through, or that they don't utilize. that a lot of it never makes it this way towards Western. Getting a healthy mix of like 3 to 5 different variations on.
VHS, this is the Roy Gilbreth.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Nice.
Just brought it up too, just brought it up.
That would just not be bothering me till tomorrow.
That's exactly what I was
I was
thinking.
already over it.
We can tell more of my flyers here, let me see.
I wasn't there when I was in high school. so
No,
I don't know.
yeah, there.
Me either.
I had no clue what it was gonna be and I was okay with it.
Perfect.
I should know that though, that's the difference.
Are we good with that discussion and we can move forward? All right.
One last thing, if I may, the film submissions for the Dakota Media Access Film Festival come nationwide. So I don't know that, I certainly don't want to guarantee or imply that they're all local. But then if you're looking to host a film, that's one thing, but if you're asking the film creator or something to travel here to be a part of a discussion, then you're taking on a much bigger burden financially.
If we can find some that are local here, maybe one of the films, maybe someone can come speak about. I don't think we're gonna get all of them, for sure.
Some, right, getting 1 or 2 speakers, even if we run along the lines of there's not a lot of locally sourced films, if we find a national topic that's relatable locally to HRC and then having a rep that speaks on that topic or know is knowledgeable of that topic who's local, then we could bring that in, you know, does that make sense to the group? Instead of flying someone from Cali and breaking our budget for the next 3 years. Okay. Point 2 under diversity university is partnered events, Capital Pride, June 17th to the 19th is gonna be coming up. It actually is just June 18th that we have a booth at the Capitol.
Yep.
If that's right.
Believe you're right.
So then I'll do, if we want, like last year, I can do a sign up Genius and do 2-hour increments of 2 people each to sign up for volunteering. Are the hours the same?
Yes,
So can you remind me what those are?
yes. 9 to 4, so 9 would be set up. Starts at 10. Is done by 4-ish.
Mark can look on the website too, I'm sure.
I'm almost sure it says till 5, but I think we broke down a little early for the drag show starts on the Capitol steps by like
Yep.
2-ish, 3-ish. And then once that starts, then like the booth stuff kind of quiets down. And yeah, and we usually are out of swag by then.
Are people really gonna protest that?
No, there's usually like a couple people that walk through and we just smile and hand them stickers.
Okay. Okay.
I'm so glad you're
I'll leave that.
here.
Thanks for
You put the
coming.
sticker like this and be like, it's so nice.
Yeah, so usually there's a few people down at the bottom of the Capitol,
Well,
Capitol Mall. So,
okay.
yeah.
What was your question was on time, right?
4:30.
4:30.
11 to 4:30. Oh,
Oh, so we don't have to set up till 10.
wow,
It
that's
was
really
nice to be
nice.
earlier because it was cool out.
Yeah,
So 10, so
and drag show starts at 1:45, so like 3 it'll get going.
cornhole tournament. Look at that.
No comment.
What?
So, okay, so we have enough swag for that, correct?
Yes,
So we're doing water bottles, what else, pens?
pens, water bottles.
Did you have sunglasses last year?
We did, but we didn't order anything this year because we had that kind of larger order that we got for some of the events we did. We have some leftover stickers, tattoos, I believe, and
Last year.
water bottle stickers. For water.
Bring some candy.
Yeah,
For some reason, Lifesavers went over real well.
Yeah.
We had. I don't know why.
lifesavers.
Don't bring anything that melts.
No,
Yeah. Somebody brought chocolate last year, that was not us,
yeah.
that was another.
I do
that
have a
was another deal.
canopy that I bring. I have 2 of them. One for ours and one for another group that I'm gonna be managing for. Hopefully they end up together like they did last
Yeah, that was nice, they were right across from each
year.
other.
Yep.
So our next meeting won't be until after we've already got.
Correct, so we'll need to get this.
So I'll get the email addresses from Whitney. Then I'll send it out to everybody, hopefully this week to sign up.
Okay,
Can we have outside people? Cause I'm at Casey building.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, yes, I think we had a few last year, right? Couple.
Yes, we are. Like to-
I know that people from my other booth watched ours for a little bit, so we can get out and walk around and, yeah, it's usually pretty relaxed.
There's nothing from our perspective that says you can't.
Okay,
We walked in the parade on Friday night, and we had kids and friends and all sorts of stuff. There's no harm in that.
We had kids that were very, very zealous candy throwers.
I found that is the key to distributing things in a parade is having children.
yeah,
There were, our city forester brought his 2 kids, and I'd say they're 9, 11, something like that, and a boy and a girl, and I said, pull them aside, and I said, okay, you guys realize this is a competition, right? So whoever hands out the most stuff wins. And it was like a frenzy after that. People were kids, nobody refused anything, we had nothing left at the end.
Blake sat in the wagon and for the first little bit was just like this.
Yep.
I think we ran out.
We did, we ran out before we
And
turned.
we did too. We ran out right after the tree,
Yeah.
second tree.
So as far as the items that we need for the event, who has them? Does anybody have them or do Tia drop them back off?
I don't believe we have the banner.
I have the banner in my trunk.
I hope to God you have a poll this time.
No, we'll just,
Hey,
I know the swag items.
Yeah.
We have the swag here in these cabinets behind the chairs. Whitney had kind of doled them into 4 groups for your public engagement
Two
opportunities.
fence posts buried in concrete and 5-gallon pail. You
Just
can
you have,
hold that banner up.
possibly, I was just gonna drape it on the table.
That works too.
just you have those.
Should I think about my business?
but if it's windy like it was on Friday, I don't think it would stick around.
Yeah, we actually put fishing leash on the bottom of our banner at the Badley Parade, and it helps, but it didn't make things perfect. Yeah, it did.
Sorry.
So is someone just gonna have to come get them then, Jason, prior to that event?
Yeah. You can stop by here or if you want to take them now and be responsible for them for the next 3.5 weeks, that's fine too.
No, I'll grab them. I have 2 trips. After my second trip, I can grab them either Monday the 6th or the 13th.
They're here. We know where they're at.
Because then I'll just keep it with the banner. I should put a note in here.
Yeah.
Kids.
If it's on my calendar, it's like that.
Great swag. Okay. Anything else we can think of for? Okay. Perfect, so please watch for sign up times.
Or your shirts?
Oh yeah, does everybody have your shirts?
Not mine.
I need a very big one.
Okay, do we have shirts with me?
Just like, I heard somebody,
Yeah. What do we have left for shirts? In here? We'll look when we're done.
Okay.
Darcy, you didn't get a shirt yet?
Nope.
She wasn't here at the, I don't think that was.
Yeah, well, we're not doing-
Okay. So shirts, if you can't commit to a 2-hour time slot, sign up. If you're there for a half hour, you're there for a half hour. If you're there for an
Maybe
hour.
put that in the notes though, so you
Right.
know.
Yep. I'll be there all day, so I'll fill.
I'm
in.
gonna be there all day, cause
I'm there right away in the morning, so I don't get too hot.
Okay.
Somebody you want to set up the poll?
Yeah, that's why I'm setting it up, so I know what time.
Got it. Perfect. So then next, moving on is youth engagement, student art show. We had talked about this, switching up our poetry and writing contest to a student art contest or display or show or however we want to do it.
multimedia.
You know what would be kind of fun if we're bored, is we could kind of tie it with our October event. And then as you're like coming in, you could see the art and then maybe between videos, you could play the multimedia or whatever. So kind of all be one.
So then you probably
a
have.
little bit more exciting.
Like right away when school starts.
Which means we'd need to contact BPS, our teachers, by August, right? Yeah. So this will be top of our list in June, I think, would be probably when we'll want to
You know,
hit
we know for sure about space, yeah.
contact
I can
BPS
share that out.
and coordinate with October. without.
And we weren't just gonna do BPS, correct? We were also gonna do the private schools?
Yeah,
I
I
think
just
student
think-
implies any and all homeschool kids, private
Homeschool,
school
yeah.
kids, however you want to be able to get the message out to them. I don't think there's any harm in that.
I'll disperse to DPS.
got it. BPS, private, etc. Okay, any other comments on that? Perfect.
Maybe one suggestion, so multimedia, the term we haven't heard yet. I like that idea.
I was thinking paper,
Video,
no, I wasn't implying computer generated, I was thinking more, yeah, different forms of art, like publications or poetry, short stories,
but if
drawings, paintings.
you had also talked about showing it in between artists, so if you did end up with a short video or some computer graphics or who knows what, you could incorporate that into your video slides as well.
TikTok challenge.
To do that, though, I think what would be appropriate for this group is to lay out a bit of a,
Guidelines.
what do you expect from your show? And so a call to artists, call to students, however you want to say it, call to action. And include in your call to action, what it is you're looking for and how you would be using it.
Call to action relating to creating an atmosphere of inclusion, equality, and accessibility through education and outreach to recognize the value of a diverse community.
Yeah, and then you can have categories of art,
Right,
and I don't know if we want
Visual
like
art,
to
video
have like
art,
designated judges.
musical art. Well, if you're gonna make it a contest, you need judges. If you're gonna make it a show, you just have people display their wares. And then everybody gets a participation ribbon.
It could be like, I know like All Nude is one of my good friends, and you know, like having it be accessible to like sell as well, like really these young artists like pumped up and like into, you know, it's just a great opportunity for them. So it doesn't have to be like, you know, judged or just showcased. You could also have that opportunity. So I'll like go into the high schools and I'll be like, I would love to buy this.
Okay,
That is not what I think when my kindergartner brings home art.
I have one for my preschooler nephew. It's just like on my wall. It's like,
Yeah.
so we have that lined up. That'll kind of be popping in post Pride to be a focus to kind of bring it in before the end of the summer, while we're rolling into the October event that is going to just come together.
Magically. Yeah.
oh,
So moving on then to municipal equality index rating D. I like how there's an update for me. I turned the page and looked like, well, yes.
what year should that have?
So MEI scorecard, we are at the point where we're gonna be submitting this to the national HRC. This is a culmination of 2 years of work with the city departments and moving forward on this. So everything in the red is what we're going to be adding in. And in my mind, from what I can add up as you go through, these are all like points in the municipal equality index scorecard. In the points in here, we're looking at raising our score, I'd say at a minimum of 10 points. I could see us going up at least 12 to 15 if everything is accepted. If all of it is accepted, we're looking at probably 20 points, 15 to 20 point rise. And we are at 63, 68. I should have put on this.
Yeah, right there. 63, you're correct.
Okay. So if we can get up to 75 out of 100, I think that would be an amazing jump in a 2-year period. A lot that we aren't able to move are just things that relate to public elected officials and policies at that level. And there's not a lot of movement. It just has to be candidates that are elected or that are willing to publicly speak out on equality issues. And we'll see with this election how it goes. Maybe everything will just shake out and we'll have some amazing champions of the Human Relations Committee sitting on our commission. And so we can always just look forward to those things moving forward in our city. Other things that are doable, there are still quite a few things that are workable, you know, over the next year or 2 years. But if we had kind of started this as a 2-year goal, is it really 2 years already, a year and a half? It was when Brandy, she was still in. It's 2 years.
Was it like July of last year?
Yeah,
Year and a half.
a year and a half. Okay, by the time we get everything back from them, it'll be 2 years.
Right.
Jeez.
Okay. Just like
Pretty
that.
good for government.
Yes, it is.
So,
You have no idea how right he is.
given this, I turn this into Jason and city administration. Do you believe these are things we can pull together? Did I send this in right, or did you want me to put more?
No, this is good. I didn't do
Okay.
anything with it. I wanted this group to see it first before we did any final tweaking or governmenting it.
Mhm. Can I ask a couple points on it? Okay, so the one, municipal services, we had talked at one point of an LGBTQ liaison in the city's executive office. Was there ever a designation of a city administration staff? To earn the credit in the category, the city must have an officially designated liaison to the LGBTQ plus community, such as the police department has. If that's the case, there would need to be documentation such as on the city website or somebody publicly having a title and a contact. That could be somebody in the administration already, from what I understand. If that's not something movable right now, this is something that can be done easily over the next 2 years. I know sometimes this stuff, but that's 5 points right there. And that's in, so just something for,
And this group could be designated as that.
I don't believe so. Because it has to be,
Does it have to be a city employee?
this role may be assigned to existing city staff or somebody may be hired. Additionally, the
Staff
liaison,
implies that you're on the payroll.
yep,
Um,
I am more than welcome to
You're
be
saying,
hired as a,
Put me on the payroll.
as a consultant. I will only be.
Yep, we can get together and consult about things. You want to prolong the problem, hire a consultant.
And all it really is somebody who serves as an accessible and friendly ear to the city's LGBTQ plus community and elevates related concerns to the city executives and other city officials. City executive's office does not qualify unless they serve as the official liaison and meet the above criteria. So just something that admin should look at. I know it's not anything we can move, but just that was one touching point. Then going on, the youth bullying prevention policy for city services, the library board already voted on that and instituted it a few months ago. Services to support LGBTQ youth on the next page, the city of Bismarck. They do work with YouthWorks, and so we were just trying to find exactly how. If they, I
How
don't know,
about, United Way, they're homeless shelter.
possibly. It needs to be services designed to address the unique needs of LGBTQ plus youth. What we ran into a lot is that just saying we serve everybody doesn't count.
Oh.
It needs to be tailored towards specific populations. And so that's something that public health worked on. They came up with pamphlets and everything specifically designated towards populations. And what we're hoping with this is that we could take this, focusing on the LGBTQ plus community, and just use it as a model for every community within her area within a community.
There you go.
City providing services to support LGBTQ plus people experiencing homelessness, that kind of would go along with the United Way shelter. Hey Trevor. YouthWorks is providing things that fit into that category. So just getting and I believe that a lot of this documentation was provided in that Google Doc. I think Renee and Christine both had put stuff in here. I really, the rest of it, we never, had recognition from the National HRC about the police liaison, and that's 10 points right there. So we're jumping from 63 to 73 just with that. And so all we need to do is provide the documentation or the link to the Bismarck City Police Liaison. I didn't know if the leadership pro-equality legislative efforts, if that would have anything to do with the HCO. If it does end up passing next week, we may want to hold off and see how that shakes out. If the hate crime ordinance does pass through, that is leadership's pro-equality legislative efforts. So right there, that would show that the city is moving forward with that. So at the bottom, there are more things that we're gonna include that are just, relevant things. Yeah, I don't know, I know we're gonna get movement. I just don't know how much. So watch, we get 100 out of 100.
Your pay increase what we.
Commensurate with
This.
He's like, we get paid.
Double your salary from zero. Deadline for submission,
We want this submitted, I would say by the end of week, if possible. 2 weeks maximum. We were hoping to get in before the June deadline to have them review and send back if there were any questions, if possible. I know you're in the middle of the,
we're always in the middle of
that
something. Sesquicentennial.
And I'm like, how do you pronounce that?
sesquicentennial.
Sasquatch without the squash.
Yeah. So, any questions? No? Okay. Do you feel that's a doable deadline?
Yeah, I don't have anything on my calendar for Friday.
Now you do.
Now you do.
Okay. Perfect, and you're more than welcome to call me with any questions or any. Okay,
I'll just accept all the changes.
perfect, no, that, I'm fine with that, just add documentation.
If, I think, just so it's part of the, official city stuff, we put it on letterhead and all of that pageantry that goes along with submitting documents as well. Did Renee and Christine both see this? Renee from Public Health, Christine Quayog from the library?
Possibly,
Okay,
it was in our shared Google Doc.
okay, so they were made aware of it anyway. They had the opportunity to look at it.
Possibly.
Okay.
I will send out an email.
Okay.
To everybody, because I think I'll just forward the email I sent you.
Mhm.
It literally was, this is their red highlighting that I added a little bit to. I used it. And added a couple sections in there that I felt we may have some headway on, because they focused on just municipal services. There were a couple things at the top. On the first page, municipality as an employer. We would need to check with HR or legal, providing city employment non-discrimination. HR policy here, I would believe every HR policy
Yes.
nowadays addresses inclusive workplace. That's 2 points right there that we weren't receiving. A lot of this is just not reporting. City employee domestic partner benefits, I don't believe anybody designates that anymore, either or. Because with domestic partnerships only being like live-in people, because now it's legal. So everybody is covered, aren't they? Does that make sense? I don't know. I shouldn't look at you just because you work for HR. My understanding is that health insurance should cover everything, and I don't know what the differentiation of domestic partner benefits is. So that would be something you'd want to touch base with
Okay.
HR on. Those were, so then the municipal services would be, Renee and Christina already know about that. We just may need documentation from them. I added in section 4 and 5, law enforcement and leadership on LGBTQ equality, so we need to pull in documentation from that. Renee had added a few things at the bottom of general information that wasn't a part of it, but may add in bonus points. That was all I had.
If it's a PERS plan, it might be grandfathered, but not, well.
We are not with first.
It
We are self-funded through Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay.
might depend on the plan. That's the first ordinance.
Trevor, do you want to take over? We're just down to the other business at the end of it.
No, you can take it.
Okay.
The transit was late.
If it's a same-sex marriage, yes. If it's a domestic partnership, no.
Okay. So there is still differentiation.
Marriage license.
Oh, so not common law?
Right.
I have like 12 common law. Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on, other business.
Let's talk about the hate crime ordinance.
Okay,
So what are we speaking? Are we queue to consensus if we're just gonna be ready to speak in case needed? Or we are speaking?
so, just to catch everybody up at the May 10th city commission meeting, we decided as representatives of the Bismarck HRC to just hold off on any comment unless there was opposition in the beginning public comment, for the sake of not drawing attention to this and hoping that would play out better, which a lot of the times it does in our city, and it did. So we sat and there was no public comment and it passed the consent agenda, which moves the public or the hate crimes ordinance on to public hearing, which is going to be on the 24th. At that point, from what we understand is if we want to send representation as a committee to speak if need be, that we send it. I know that a lot of different orgs in town are sending representation, that if there's no opposition to it in the public hearing, that they'll just, there may be a few comments in support of it, but if not really, then the hope is that it would just pass. We would need to decide as a committee what we would like to do. I feel, and correct me if you disagree, I feel like we should at least as a city committee make a statement, whether there's opposition or not, that we're in support of it. Or a committee appointed by the city commission and the mayor, and we're here to create an atmosphere of inclusion, equality, and accessibility through education and outreach. But we also need to understand that there are ways to go about this or not. I would assume that we show up and have somebody there prepared to make a statement if need be. And if we,
Tia had a statement that she had prepared, which directly relates to the strategic plan and why. I mean, it would be a good to take on the ordinance, do two different things that were written in the strategic plan. So,
And that was shared with the commission at the last meeting, included with the record for the minutes. Now, there's no harm in providing that statement or reading that statement again.
okay. Okay, and I guess we just go off of guidance of what the commission feels. I know that we just play it by ear.
so I know there's, I believe, Jason, I could be wrong, that there's something going to the commission of a list of people that are for the ordinance, and or organizations or,
all kinds of things.
okay.
And that's kind of outside of this committee.
Mhm.
But I do understand that yes, there is a lot of support for this within our community, and they will just be sending that support in to the city to have representation, such as a lot of different things that we do here.
It's very common for us to receive unsolicited support for items on the agenda. People say, I don't want to speak, but I'd like my thoughts known. We print copies of whatever those statements are for each 5 commissioners. We put it at their workstation, so it's there when they get to the meeting. And then it gets attached to the minutes as part of the record. So 10 years from now, if somebody were to pick up the minutes and read that from, the record of that meeting, the written statement has the same weight as the spoken word at that point, because it's all part of the end record.
So,
So do you think it would be good for us, whoever wants to send something in like that?
It can come from citizenry,
Okay,
it can come from groups and organizations. I
mhm.
think this group has has provided a statement. If there's an additional statement or a different statement, that's fine. But for those that choose to support, or for those that choose to oppose, they can submit written word, and we tell on the front page of the agenda, it says to share your comments with the commission, submit them to this email address by 3 p.m. on the day of the meeting, and then we check it at 3:30, and if there's anything there, we print it out, and they all go downstairs at the same time. The commissioners to read.
I would think we could make a motion at all. I could sign the letter on behalf of the committee for that.
Okay.
If someone could make the motion, I would so move.
I'll second that.
Perfect. Motion in a second for a letter of support. All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign. Perfect. Motion carries.
Okay, quick question. How many of us are gonna be there and do we have to come as a meeting? What, because I know I'll be there, you'll be there, Tia will be there. So that's 3.
Okay.
If I need to be there, I can be. If
If
not,
we show up with other orgs, but we're all in the same room, we should still technically, how about we just put it as a public meeting just in case?
Special notice.
I think so. No,
Probably, yeah.
okay.
Just to be safe.
Yeah, I'd rather have it than not. Unless you think that's a bad idea.
Space, I don't know. I don't know how to read that.
I'm ready to do a special meeting notice for HRC.
So I think that's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea to be prepared. Now, if we get to the date of the meeting and 4 of you tell me you're not coming, we're not gonna post it as a special meeting.
Thank you, because we can wait until that day to post it.
Yes, why don't you do this? If you can all agree that you will contact our office and you intend to be at the meeting on the 24th, we will base our decision on the number of you that report. Because that's how we do it with city commissioners. They tell us, I'm going to this event. Great. If 3 of you tell me that, we're gonna do a special meeting notice. If nobody else tells me that, and all 5 of you happen to be there at the same time, we'll scramble and we'll figure it out then.
Calling city admin at 9 AM.
Or just email Whitney or I.
You know,
That's fine.
a few minutes.
I plan on maybe making it, I'm not sure yet.
That sounds like a definite maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure, maybe. I won't be.
Okay. Perfect. Any other business, new business?
Manager of the Year Award, when do you know?
We have plaques, so you tell us when you wanna do them in June. Keep in mind, June 14th is election day. That is the last time the commission, as we know it, will take significant action. And I say it that way because Commissioner Guy is not, her last day as a commissioner will be June 28th, but so the election's the 14th. The current commission will come back and convene a meeting on the 28th, but their sole purpose is to canvass the votes the ballots that were cast on the 14th. Once they say, yep, these are the ballots, Commissioner Guy steps away. At least one new commissioner and potentially two and maybe even a mayor would then be sworn in, and then you've got a whole new composition of people at the table. So with that in mind, if you would like the current composition of commissioners to recognize the humanitarians, then you'll have to do it at the June 14th meeting.
I think that would be the best because I think out of all the commissioners, she's the one who's most advocated for humanitarianism.
Mhm.
My opinion.
So, but I have a question, Jason. They usually try to keep that commission meeting short on election night. Is that gonna be a big problem?
The ceremony would be 5 to 10 minutes at tops. It's not gonna be a
Yeah.
huge deal, but you're right. They do try to keep that meeting night shorter because that room then becomes a organizational place for the county when they're going through all the ballots.
I don't know how that agenda is as far as how packed it'll be.
We probably won't know that for several weeks yet. So typically, the first meeting of the month is lighter than the second meeting of the month. The second meeting of the month often has the public hearings that were introduced at the first meeting, much like we're seeing next month or next week.
Okay.
So
Maybe if we get it on their agenda now, they can do it early and if they need to cut everything.
it'll be at the very beginning of the meeting.
Oh.
It will be before even public comment. They'll do invocation, pledge of allegiance, and then the words.
Okay.
And then that's out of respect for everybody that would choose to attend. The other thing is I could throw a wild card in this if those two groups, the library or Geraldine would not be available. The library should be available, representation from some. But Geraldine, we would contact her tomorrow to say, are you available on June 14th at 5:15 p.m.? And if the answer is yes, great, we'll lock it in. If not, you separate them and you do one or the other, or you decide do them both at the same time.
Okay.
I think personally, I think it's more impactful to do both at the same time. So if one's not available, then we'll look towards that June or potentially July date.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing to say, well, let me back up. I would like to talk it over with the city attorney and the city administrator. If June 14th doesn't work, I would then ask the question, what about June 28th? Because the outgoing commission could recognize the humanitarians at their meeting. I don't believe that would be a problem. So there could be a shot to do it on the 28th.
I think they did that last time when seminary was leaving. The commission had, I think it was a student who wanted to do some art in seminary. I was talking if that was okay at the time.
Trevor, your memory's better than mine.
So, and I will be at that ceremony, whatever date it is.
Perfect. Do we have any other business?
I am going to, bring up a few things.
Okay.
I got a question for you, John, though. Do we have, the bylaws or not?
I'm sorry, bylaws
Yeah,
for the Human Relations Committee?
yeah.
I do not believe so. Let me go look
We're
here.
not considered a nonprofit, so
Yeah, not all groups need to have bylaws. We do have, Board of Adjustment has bylaws that were crafted by them. And I believe the Renaissance Zone Authority has bylaws as well, that kind of govern their meetings. I don't believe that there are any for this group that I've ever seen. Just the ordinance governs the activities of this group.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't quite sure.
And your strategic plan.
Okay. I'm just going to, how do I want to say, because I was talking to John here. when you're on Teams, part of it is I'm kind of venting out some of my frustrations right now. Because when you're on Teams, you kind of feel left out. And the over talking has to quit.
We won't be hosting Teams meetings any longer. We're doing them for recording, so then we push them to the website, but the intent would be to have all the meetings in.
I understand that.
We have stopped doing Teams meetings for all boards and committees unless special circumstances arise, because we're back to.
Or like during the winter.
Yeah, we would do it on a case by case basis, but the goal is to have in-person meetings. It's just more accessible for the public as well.
Plus, I believe you get a lot more done in person than you do, through Teams or whatever.
Can you explain, maybe I'm just off of this, what you mean by over talking?
When you're on Teams and when you try to say something, someone else is talking here. That's what I mean by the over talking.
From what I noticed when I was on Teams, every time I tried to talk, I think that was delayed, and I think that's where the discrepancy came from. Just,
I don't think anybody is trying to over talk someone else.
It may just be a delay in how it's set up.
I think so, cause I think that's what I was asking you when we were at the,
It felt like it, yeah. You know, when I had to call in, when I wasn't feeling good. I would start talking, but somebody had started talking here and I didn't realize it, and I can't, we can't see each other, so we're not getting the physical cues. And so, yeah, I would just kind of stop then. Yep.
so my point was, is that you feel kind of left out when you're on Teams. So I mean, I can understand why we did that, but it just got to be a huge frustration for me. The other thing is that when it came to the, humane or the voting, for refresh my memory.
Yep.
The
Um,
military award.
Right.
Yep.
My thing about that is that, like I was saying to John here at the band night, is that whoever knows that person, to me, it should be a conflict of interest. Because there again, I never got to give my input on that. And I believe that Whitney sent them out that day or whatever. And to me, it's like giving enough time to kind of look over them before we voted on them. So that's where I'm at with that.
Did any of us know any of them though?
We knew of them in the community, but I appreciate you bringing that to the committee. One thing that we had kind of talked about is that all of us serve on so many different committees and we know a lot of the same people within the community. And so for me to step back, if I know of somebody, we may end up with no quorum for even voting. And I hear what you're saying, but I don't see us promoting friends or, purposely, because I hadn't met any of you other than in passing until, I work with Nicole, a completely different department, to
You knew
where
of me,
you're right.
I was
new
a vague
of-
person up here.
I hear
Trying
what
to
you're
avoid.
saying, but I haven't seen any kind of collaboration to move forward with any improper nominations or voting. And I don't know if that's what you're saying, but maybe you're just giving us guidance to watch for that. Would that be?
That's part of it.
Okay.
That's part of it.
And I think it might be something where if you're familiar with somebody, you maybe don't provide a lot of commentary on why you think they should get it. You just be part of the voting and maybe not let the application stand for itself. But I don't know anybody.
See that. I think it's good guidance.
The way the commission handles potential conflicts of interest when they vote on things would be, for one example, former mayor Mike Seminary worked for a consulting firm here in town. And anytime that firm was working on a project, whether Mayor Seminary had anything to do with it or not, he would simply announce at the beginning to say, look, I work for this company, they're working on this project, I have nothing to do with it, but I need to disclose that. And then the commission would decide if they felt that was a conflict of interest. And generally, a conflict of interest at the commission table occurs when there's a financial implication. In other words, if his company stood to benefit financially from that work and he personally got some of that money, then that's a situation. But if he would say, that's my company, but I didn't work on the project, there's no conflict of interest.
Okay.
So for future conversations, if there are those types of situations, it may be best just to disclose how, if at all, you know that organization or the affiliation, or you might say, I work for this group, I'm just gonna sit quietly while the rest of you discuss this. But I would also point out for the organization that received the award, if someone in this town doesn't know that organization, then they're not paying attention because it's the library.
Yeah.
Now, if I were here saying, I think you need to give it to the library, that would be inappropriate for me. I have no position in this whatsoever. The discussion and the decisions were made by the committee, not the staff. So from my perspective, had I seen something of unfairness or impropriety, I would have said something. I have no concerns.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you have anything else you said you wanted to bring up or no?
That's pretty much about it.
Okay.
And I just wanna say, sorry, I'm late, transit, I'm running way behind today.
That's all right. We're glad that you were able to make it.
I will move to adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second that.
perfect. Movement in a second. All those in favor? Do we need to vote? No, we don't. Let's get out of here. Thank you.
Please make sure you're voting for Mr. Bismarck.